Hey everyone, my name is Danny. I am from the home office. I'm on the experience team at home office, and I'm also on the social media team. So as a team, we wanted to get together and come to you today to really just put our best foot forward and give you some helpful tips. So the background is what we've been noticing and some of the common themes and concerns on various consultant Facebook groups are about virtual parties and the parties as they pertain to the Facebook challenges, specifically about guest engagement and visibility of notifications and posts within your groups. So I'm going to go over some ideas and best practices to help you understand and adapt your virtual parties to these recent Facebook changes. And I hope that you'll take these notes today, think about them, and implement them, share them with your team, and just really start rocking and rolling again and boost your morale. So again, for those who are just joining, I'm Danny from home office, and I'm just gonna get right to it. So I hope you'll bear with me. I have notes up here on my screen, so I'm gonna be looking at those a little bit because I do have a little bit to share with you today. So let's start by addressing the problem. So some of the issues that we've seen are that guests aren't seeing posts in your events or your groups wherever you're holding your virtual parties. You're also seeing extra low engagement in parties. And basically your parties are falling flat, which is not what we want. Nobody wants that. So I'm going to address some of these issues and give you ideas and best practices and changes that you can implement to help improve your party success. First thing to think about is the personal invitation to your virtual parties. So just like if you were to host an in-person party or if you're just going to host a birthday party, you want to extend a personal invitation to these virtual parties to get the most out of the guests that you have. So you want to have your host personally invite their connections. They can do this via Facebook Messenger. They can do this via text message, email, a phone call, or knocking on your neighbor's door next door. So with that personal invite, you want to have a personal message about why they're being invited to really set that expectation. So many people need to accept group invitations as well as invites on Facebook. And if they don't accept them, they don't have a reason to accept them, they won't actually be in the group. So those invites will be ignored. And yes, there are notifications sometimes that you're invited, like a reminder, but if they don't have a reason, they may not accept it. So that's part of what you might be seeing. So going back to the unique invitations, they're also more impactful and meaningful versus auto-dumping people into your group. Yes, auto-dumping. It's an ugly word, and it's not really a thing you want to continue doing. So let's try to get over that. What we've seen is that smaller parties perform better in terms of sale than larger parties of hundreds of people when you have those smaller parties with engaged party guests. So they had a reason to come in, they want to be there, they're going to check back, they're going to pay attention. It's also easier on the host to invite a smaller group of people that are closer connections to them, than inviting masses of connections. So what we've seen is that hosts can only invite about 40 people at a time, and then Facebook kind of puts a hold to that. So there's a limit, and then they have to go back in, and hosts don't understand, why can't I invite more people? So that kind of puts pressure on you as the consultant too. So when we say maybe start with your closest connections, invite 25 people and go from there, but a smaller party with more engaged guests is going to give you a better turnout. So the second thing I'm going to move on to is having the host involved in party content and having them involved often. So Facebook now prioritizes post activity from friend connections. There's a big shift and a big focus this year from Facebook on your close connections and meaningful content, and also groups. So there's going to continue to be changes with them. So we're trying to pay attention and work with those changes. So going back to your friend activities, when a friend, in this case, which is a host of virtual parties, when that friend posts in a party, or if they go live in a party, or even if they comment on a post, one of your posts in the party, most attendees will get a notification and have a higher likelihood of seeing party activity. So it is crucial to get your hosts involved in your parties and do it daily, if not more than once a day, to really get that engagement going. So Facebook has multiple options for group notifications, and maybe you've seen this yourself like I did. So for example, if you're in a group that reaches 250 members or more, the notification setting will automatically be set to highlights by default for the users. So this comes straight from Facebook, and this is one of the resources I'm going to leave as a comment when I'm done here. So having this setting be a default is another reason to limit your party size. Many people like myself have groups turned on to highlights only or to friends posts only. So this is how you'll want to focus your energy and go back to your host coaching best practices. When you know that most people are only seeing highlights or they're only seeing their friends' posts, you want to work within those constraints and say, how can I make sure that this is a highlight? And that's by getting more engagement on that post. Or if they can only see a friend's post, that's when you want to have the host make sure to post. And then the last option for group notifications is to see all posts. And this, in my experience, isn't the most common setting used. I can tell you that my settings aren't like this. I want to see my friends' posts and I want to see my in the highlights. And I try to go back into groups often to catch up on what I want to catch up on. So you'll still have people going into your group and looking at content, but they're not going to get every notification. So if you're using Facebook events, you'll also want to make sure to add the host as a co-host of the event to raise the chances that their friend connections can see the updates that they make within the event discussion area. So that's a little hidden now too, especially with the changes that happened earlier in this year with Facebook events. Your discussion area is not set up front when you go into events. It's not the default. Usually it goes to about your event. So when you have an event, make sure that the host is a co-host and use that personal connection with the host inviting their guests to the party, and some strong host coaching will make a difference here as well. And I don't think I covered this, but I highly suggest you make your host a moderator or a co-admin if you're using groups. So there's options for both Facebook events and Facebook groups. So a third thing here, and this is going to be a big one, is going live to gain attention. I'm going to be honest with you, going live is not something I'm super confident at myself either. So if I'm doing it here today, you can do it too. I told you up front, I'm looking at notes, so there's different ways that you can practice and get out in front of it. I certainly practice to be here today myself. So a great way to work within the guardrails of the always changing Facebook algorithm is to go live. Live video broadcasts are authentic, they're in real time, and they're seen as a priority in Facebook feeds and in your Facebook groups. And some of you may have noticed that I teased, although it was only half an hour before this, that I was going live. You also want to make sure you gain some interest ahead of time so people in your parties know what you're going live about. Even if it's just a self-introduction, you can say, hey, I'm going to go live later on tonight to tell you who I am and why I'm here today, or for the week, however long you do your parties. So one way to double down and get extra attention is when you go live in your parties. And like I said, even if it's just an intro to yourself, if you only have 1 minute in your week, go live and do a specific introduction to yourself, because any live video is better than none. So squeeze in what you can do. If you can do multiple live videos, do a demo, explain your favorite tools, some gift options, do what you can. Virtual party themes from home office have Facebook Live outlines included to help get you started if you want to go beyond just your self-intro. And you can look out for more resources coming from home office in November. I'm really excited to get those out into the field. So the fourth thing is engagement bait. This isn't one of the newest things that Facebook has really hunkered down on, but I do want to emphasize it because this is something that we're seeing some conflicting suggestions out there for. So let's talk about what engagement bait is. Basically, it's when you're posting content with a specific ask. So that's what's considered engagement bait by Facebook. And they'll recognize this ask and deprioritize it. Facebook says, from them, asking people to comment with specific answers, which are words, numbers, phrases, tagging someone, or emojis, is engagement bait because it's seen as spammy in nature. And we just don't want to be spammy. So Facebook and its users are looking for value-added content and meaningful conversations. You can still post with an ask for comments, but you have to craft it in a way that seems natural and fun to the users, which are your guests. So for example, if you post, I love my MFP, comment with your favorite tool below. The word comment may trigger a filter in Facebook that would mark this as engagement bait. So instead, try something like, I love my MFP. It's a time saver in my kitchen. What helps make meal times faster in your kitchen? So here you're still asking a question, but it's more open-ended and can inspire a more personal answer because it's not giving the user a directive to do something specific. And it also will provide you an area of opportunity to follow up with a comment and maybe spark a conversation with a guest who wouldn't have otherwise commented on that post. Another great option in groups is the poll function. This is a fun and engaging way to ask your audience input that is a built-in option provided by Facebook. So you can customize polls to the content you're covering. So for example, you can go on a scale from 1 to 5, how hard is meal prepping for you today? Or share what you're going to go live in. Let's say you're going to do a demo and you want to demo either guacamole or salsa. You can ask your audience ahead of time, hey, I want to demo guacamole or salsa. What would you rather see? So then the guests would vote on that one and providing them with even more reason to tune into your live either. So you can kind of work these two functions together. So I also want to remind you of the importance of our virtual party promises, which is covered in Party Experience training on PC University. So I coach my virtual host, I connect with people, I post with a purpose, I solve problems, and I make it my own. It's still really important to remember these and all the content that you add to your parties, that you add to your social media business page, even with some of the new challenges that can come up with Facebook changes. And believe me, I know changes will happen and they're going to continue happening. But the core of what you do every day really needs to stay steady, and we can overcome these things and work with them together. So coming in the next few weeks, you're going to hear directly from some of our top field leaders who are running virtual parties themselves. They're going to share what is working for them and their teams so that you can have the best advantage in the strong selling season. So stay tuned for more information from Home Office and more of those videos. But I hope, and the team here hopes, that that this information helps you through your current and future virtual party structures with a better understanding of some of the recent Facebook nuances. And for more information on host coaching and social media best practices, you can check out PC University, and specifically the social media marketing page on Consultants Corner has some great tips as well. And you can check out the comments on this video. Once I'm done here, I'm going to link to some resources at the end. I really want to thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. I see there's over 100 of you. I know you're going to be watching the recordings. I hope you can take notes, share this with your team. Even if you have parties that are ending today, ending tomorrow, try to implement something new and see if it'll work for you. And just know that sometimes this will take a little bit of time and adaptation, but I know that with small changes, you can do this. And I again, thank you very much. And I hope that you stay tuned for more resources coming soon from the field and coming from Home Office. I'll talk to you soon.